Our lesson for today is about the mission and ministries of the church. The whole church is missionary, and we cannot separate the church from the very person of Jesus, and the church has a mission of salvation of the world. As the sacrament of the kingdom, she is God's choice, and to accomplish together with the Holy Spirit His plan for creation, and that is the salvation of the whole world. So the church exists for the world and in the world as God's chosen agent to carry on His mission to gather all people to really become one family with God. And Christ called men and appointed them as apostles to carry on this mission, and they were sent to become witnesses to the world. So the task of the church, both in its institutional and human dimensions, is threefold. First, the preaching of the gospel in truth, or the prophetic mission. Second is the sanctifying of humankind, or the priestly mission. And third, service in love, which is the kingly mission. The mission of the church is carried out through the different ministries in the church. When we talk about the word ministry, it means service. So Christian ministry is serving the people of God. So one of the ministries in the church is what we call ordained ministry. And we know that the ordained ministers are the bishops, priests, and deacons. This ministry proceeds from the sacrament of holy orders. It receives authority and power from Christ to serve the church in threefold manner: teaching, sanctifying, and governing of the people of God. The dogmatic constitution, Lumen Gentium, defines lay as follows: they are the faithful, except those in holy orders and those in the state of religious life, especially approved by the Church. By virtue of baptism, the lay became one with Christ and are constituted among the people of God, and they share in the priestly, prophetical, and kingly functions of Christ, and they carry these functions on their own part of the mission of the whole Christian people in the church and in the world. The Second Vatican Council taught that the laity's specific character is secularity, that is, Christians who live the life of Christ in the world, and their role is to sanctify the created world by directing it to become more Christians in its structures and systems. So lay involvement has taken diverse forms, including participation in the life of the parish, unions of prayer, confraternities, guilds, lay apostolates, Catholic actions, lay ecclesial movements, among others. When we talk about consecrated life, we are talking about the public vows or other sacred bands whereby the consecrated persons commit themselves for the love of God to observe as binding the counsels of chastity, poverty, and obedience from the Christian gospel. Consecrated persons are not part of the Catholic Church hierarchy unless they are ordained priests. And what are the different forms of consecrated life? Canonically, groups of consecrated men and women are distinguished in three categories. The first is the religious institute. The members of religious institutes take public vows as their way of professing the evangelical counsels, and they live a common life that is a life in community. Institutes of consecrated life include the religious orders and communities, both men's and women's of the classic tradition, for example, the Benedictines, Franciscans, Augustinians, Carmelites, Dominicans, Jesuits, and others. Those in monastic life, the hermits and contemplative nuns, consecrate themselves to God through their public or private profession of the evangelical counsels of chastity, poverty, and obedience, confirmed by a vow of other sacred bond in the hands of the respective diocesan bishop, and observe each their own plan of life under his direction. We also have societies of apostolic life, and the members of these societies are committed to the area of the apostolate or mission of the church, to the common life, and to the life of charity, but not to the profession of public vows. Although many profess the evangelical counsels in some other form, for example, promise, pledge, or consecration. So societies of apostolic life include many of more modern missionary groups, such as Missionaries of Africa, Oratorians, Vincentians, Daughters of Charity, Society of Precious Blood, the Paulists, the Palatines, the Colombans, and the Priest of Saint Sulpice. We also have the secular institutes, and the members of these groups are not religious, but they form of consecrated life as characterized by secularity. For example, working for the sanctification of the world from within it, while engaging in secular pursuits. They do profess the evangelical counsels in some form, and some can do live a common life, but others live with their families in the world. Secular institutes are 20th century innovation. They are relatively small and few in number. They include, among others, like Caritas Christi, the Grail, the Servite Secular Institute, the Institutes of Saint Gabriel the Archangel, and the Society of the Our Lady of the Way. So thank you very much, and I hope you have learned many things about the mission and ministries of the Catholic Church.